Hello everyone, different topic today. I'd like to talk about my experience with Blu-ray players. And I'm talking about the ones that first came out all the way through, let's say, the mid 2010s. I'm not talking about the latest and greatest, the ones like the 4K ones and so forth. Just talking about like the OG ones that, came out in late 2000s-ish, I think, and then all the way through 2015s. Now, the reason why I want to talk about is that at two different locations, I've had four different Blu-ray players. They're all by Sony. And I'd say over the past 5 years or so, of those four, three of them have failed. And one probably would fail too, but it's just never been played. Now, I don't recall all three of the Sonys that failed. I would like to say mid-tier. So when bought new, I like to say they were in the $100 range, 100 plus, maybe between 100 and 150. And then one I got was a little more that still works, completely works, is the original, the OG, the very first Sony ES Blu-ray player. That was the, I think it was the BDP ES 2000 or something like that. So it's the one with the blue tint glass, or kind of a glass looking front that drops, and then the tray comes out. It's pretty slick. And that's the only one that still works together. The other three bought not too later after that, like I like to say late 2009 through 2014. Again, this is for two different locations. And all three failed. And what I mean by failed is that two of them couldn't play Blu-rays anymore, couldn't read. So you put in a Blu-ray disc and it'll just spin for a bit, and it just says it couldn't read, okay? But strangely, if you put in like a CD or a DVD, it would just read that fine and play. And the third one is the exact opposite. So like it plays Blu-rays just fine, but when you put in a DVD, it just fails. It can't read. Same thing, just can't read DVDs. And knowing that Sony, later on when I realized what's going on, like Sony when they make their Blu-ray players, now I don't know if the other ones do as well, but other manufacturers, but they pretty much, there's like dual lasers, right? One for Blu-ray specific and the other one for DVDs. Funny that all CDs never had a problem, so who knows? But that's the thing. And it seems like these things fail, and they fail quite a bit. So I'm really frustrated that all these Blu-ray players from Sony just had this issue, and they're never used a lot, not abused at all. Just put in there, and then whenever you need to play a movie or something, just play it. That's pretty much it. And it's very frustrating to see something like that, and it doesn't take long, right? Hardly used, and after few years, 4 or 5 years max, get this read issue. Now, the Sony ES, the one that still works, and that's the only model, ES model I have, and I got that on clearance from I remember way back, a boutique audio video store was going out of business, and they were just clearancing everything, and that one looked great. It's still kind of expensive for a Blu-ray player, but it was the Sony ES, that's the Lexus of the Sony, so that's the thing. And again, it still works, but that one was hardly used, period. It's just to kind of like, don't want to touch it, number one. It looks just too good. But the main reason why that one was never used or used often was because it was so damn slow. You put in, just to turn the power on and have it just kind of, turn on itself, it takes like a couple minutes or so. And this is like with the latest firmware update and everything. And then you put in a disc and you put it in the read. It's like a few minutes before you even see a screen with a rotating like loading, and it's just doggone slow. Moving chapter by chapter, menus, everything. Once you play the movie, assuming you don't have to skip or anything, chapters or anything, it works fine, but it's just so damn slow. And these were for the early gen. They improved on and so forth, but that was the main reason why it's never used. And I have a bad feeling if that ES system is used a lot, I'm pretty sure it's going to have the same failure, whether it can't read Blu-ray discs or can't read DVDs or something like that. But anyway, so over the past 5 years, I think starting from the pandemic, I mean, I just tossed got rid of the ones that don't work, even though they can play like half the time, like either DVDs or Blu-rays. I started looking. I didn't want to buy anything brand new either. So, going to the, thrift shop or something like that just to see around, or garage sales and things like that. And I happened to chance on this. So it's a Panasonic brand. Okay, kind of well, if I put it near me, you'll see that. So this is one of the early gens as well, Panasonic Blu-ray player. And it has a little more bells and whistles, but I wasn't able to test it or anything, but I took a chance because it came with the remote, and it was like, I think $5 or something like that. What the hell? So I gave it a shot, took it home, worked fine, put in a couple movies, and I realized something. The picture quality on these Panasonics are I think, better than the Sonys that I got rid of, that died and I got rid of. So, I was pretty impressed with the picture quality. Everything seems smooth, no frills. There's some things on here like you can read SD cards, and doesn't matter to me. For me, it's just movies, and I'm not really a big movie guy in a sense. Collect movies or watch movies nonstop. These days I hardly watch anything, and if I do, it would be either streaming, unique movies, or sports. But outside of that, or concerts, really, it's for concerts. I have, if anything, in my collection would be, besides martial art movies or action movies or something like that, or like series, it would be cartoons, or not cartoons, but concerts. I also have like anime and so forth like that too, but it's just mainly concerts I like to watch. And yes, I still do have a few DVD players. Now, all my concerts are in DVD. I might have a few on Blu-ray, but usually on DVD. The DVD players I have, I still keep. They've lasted. All of them lasted. No problems with them. And all of them have the SACD and or DVD. All of them have SACD, and a couple of them have the DVD audio. So I really use those players to play that type of stuff. If I have SACDs, things like that, I play it through that. Otherwise, movies and so forth, whether it's Blu-ray, standard Blu-ray, or DVDs, I prefer to use a Blu-ray player like this. And getting this Panasonic, wow, it's fantastic. It's no problems at all, no issues till now. So like, we're talking about 5, 6, 7 years now, no issues. And this is obviously used and things like that, so it's been used quite a bit beforehand, or I would assume so. And in using it now, even though I hardly use it as much, but when I watch anything, it would be through this player. And I'm just impressed. I mean, and it was so good. The first one I got was this one. I found another one like a couple years later at a garage sale. I think $10 too, with the remote and everything. And I bought that one too. Different model. I think it's 1UP or something like that. Put it in a different place too. So I have 2 of the 3 Sonys replaced with Panasonics, and both of them so far, no issues whatsoever. The picture quality, I think it's better than the Sonys. I'm not sure if there's anything better unless you go like very high end, like Oppo or something like that. That might have better picture quality, both Blu-ray or upscaling of DVDs. I mean, I'm just impressed. Yes, it doesn't have the streaming, the Wi-Fi. I know there's some models like that, but the ones I got they have either the Ethernet wired connection or none at all. But again, I just play for movies, whether it's Blu-ray and so forth. Loads fast, never had any issues, can play everything. I test out CDs from time to time, no problem at all. And they seems like they built better than Sony. Like you could tell it's a lot heavier, it's well built. It's more well built than the Sony ones that I had bought new. So anyway, I guess what I'm trying to get at is my experience so far, and it's 6 years plus right now of the Panasonic Blu-ray, the original Blu-ray players, the early ones. I think they're just better built than Sony, hands down. It's just unbelievable. And I think other people I know too as well. They turn these things are almost like disposable. Everyone like kind of upgrades their system from time to time. But the ones that I know, either a neighbor or some coworkers that still have their Blu-ray player that they originally bought, I think the ones that have the Panasonic, they keep it, right? Because it just never dies, it seems like. So now there could be other people that have different experiences, but from my experience so far, I think Panasonic, the brand, just builds better Blu-ray players, especially early years than Sony. And besides that, there's not that many brands. You got the Korean brands like LG and Samsung, right? I never got into those. You might get some other Japanese brands like Toshiba, although I haven't seen them after the beginning at the start. I think they just kind of faded. Outside of that, you might get like Sanyo or some like, house brand, Best Buy house brand like Insignia or something like that. But if you're just going, let's say Sony versus Panasonic, they're mid-market brands, right? The models going head to head. And then I'm not talking about the ES models of Sony or Oppo or the higher end models. Denon. I'm not going that route. Just the basic. You go to like a Best Buy or something, and you want to buy a Blu-ray player from that time. I think hands down Panasonic is just the better brand to buy. Just not only in quality, but yeah, it doesn't seem to fail at all. Whereas the Sonys I've had been, really, it was built for disposing. I mean, after a few years, something's going to die and you got to just dispose it. So anyway, that's kind of my experience with Blu-ray players. I'm very happy with Panasonic. If I knew back then that this was going to happen, I probably would have gone Panasonic over Sony, but just the thing. So anyway, let me know what you think. Again, it's off topic from music, and I still listen to music from time to time through the Blu-ray mainly to test, make sure it plays the CDs as well from my bad experiences with Sony, but never had any issues. And Panasonic's a brand I definitely would go to again if I wanted to upgrade or get a new Blu-ray player that's 4K or something like that. So tell me what you think. All right, thanks. Bye.